Ganda mana yung para mana baik lagi mana Tonda bambongereza bubi mwana Katonda nkyusa ebirowoozo kuba bambongereza ndaasi bulungi Katonda. Katonda mwana Hey, how are you? should get sold. ATV. Mana katonda nkole ntya mwana katonda mwana nkole ntya katonda nkole ntya katonda mwana katonda nkole ntya katonda nkole ntya katonda nkole ntya natera mpa sente katonda mpa sente katonda njagala sente katonda katonda mwana volunteer. 1 Samuel 23. Samuel 23, New American Standard Bible. 10:6. Saul went. Did I even reach here? 1 Samuel 23, New American Standard Bible. 10:6. Saul went on one side of the mountain, and David and his men on the other side of the mountain, and David was hurrying to get away from Saul, for Saul and his men were surrounding David and his men to seize them. 10:7. But a messenger came to Saul, saying, "Hurry and come, for the Philistines have made a raid on the land." 10:6. So Saul returned from pursuing David and went to meet the Philistines. Therefore they called that place the Rock of Escape. 29. David went up from there and stayed in the strongholds of Engedi. 1 Samuel 24, New American Standard Bible. 1. Now when Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, saying, "Behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi." 2. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel and went to seek David and his men in front of the rocks of the wild goats. 3. He came to the sheepfolds. 3. He came to the sheepfolds on the way where there was a cave, and Saul went in to relieve himself. Now David and his men were sitting in the inner recesses of the cave. For the men of David said to him, "Behold, this is the day of which the Lord said to you, Behold, I am about to give your enemy into your hand, and you shall do to him as it seems good to you." Then David arose and cut off the edge of Saul's robe secretly. What's a robe? What's robe? Robe secretly. What's a robe? What's a robe? A robe is among the world's leading moving light manufacturers, recognized for its innovation quality. A robe. A robe, a loose-fitting outer garment with sleeves, used for various purposes and occasions. robbed secretly. 5. It came about afterward that David's conscience, is it conscience? Conscience bothered him because he had cut off the edge of Saul's robe. 6. So he said to his men, far be it from me, because of the Lord, that I should do this thing to my Lord, the Lord's anointed, to stretch out my hand against him, since he is the Lord's anointed. 7. David persuaded his men with these words and did not allow them to rise up against Saul. And Saul arose, left the cave, and went on his way. 8. Now after David arose and went out of the cave and called after Saul, saying, my lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David bowed with his face to the ground and prostrated himself. 9. David said to Saul, why do you listen to the words of men, saying, behold, David seeks to harm you? 10. Behold, this is the day your eyes have seen. The Lord had given you today into my hand in the cave. And someone said to kill you, but my eye had pity on you, and I said, I will not stretch out my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. 11. Now my father, see the edge of your robe in my hand, for in that I cut off the edge of your robe and did not kill you. Know and perceive that there is no evil or rebellion in my hands, and I have not sinned against you, though you are lying in wait for my life to take it. Though you are lying in wait for my life to take it. 12. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge me on you, but my hand shall not be against you. 13. As the proverb of the ancients says, out of the wicked comes forth wickedness, but my hand shall not be against you. 14. After whom has the king of Israel come out? Whom are you pursuing? A dead dog, a single flea? 15. The Lord therefore be judge and decide between you and me, and may he see and plead my cause and deliver me from your hand. 16. When David had finished speaking these words to Saul, Saul said, is this your voice, my son David? Then Saul lifted up his voice and wept. 17. He said to David, you are more righteous than I, for you have dealt well with me, while I have dealt wickedly with you. 18. You have declared today that you have done good to me, that the Lord delivered me into your hand, and yet you did not kill me. 19. For if a man finds his enemy, will he let him go away freely? May the Lord therefore reward you with good in return for what you have done to me this day. 20. Now behold, I know that you will surely be king, and the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hand. 21. So now swear to me by the Lord that you will not cut off my descendants after me, and that you will not destroy my name from my father's household. 22. David swore to Saul, and Saul went to his home, but David and his men went up to the stronghold. What is the stronghold? Stronghold. What is a stronghold? What is a stronghold? Stronghold, the original castle scene. Stronghold HD allows you to design. Stronghold, the first stronghold crusader, which was set in the Middle East during the Crusades and brought in enhanced RTS elements. Stronghold. Okay, well, I will know maybe. 1 Samuel 25, New American Standard Bible. 1. Then Samuel died, and all Israel gathered together and mourned for him and buried him at his house in Ramah. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. 2. Now there was a man in Maon whose business was in Carmel, and the man was very rich, and he had 3,000 sheep and 8,000 goats. And it came about while he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. 3. Now the man's name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. And the woman was intelligent and beautiful in appearance, but the man was harsh and evil in his dealings, and he was a Calebite. For that David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. 5. So David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, go up to Carmel, visit Nabal, and greet him in my name. 6. And thus you shall say, have a long life, peace be to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have. 7. Now I have heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we have not insulted them, nor have they missed anything all the days they were in Carmel. 8. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore, let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we have come on a festive day. Please give whatever you find at hand to your servants and to your son David. 9. When David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal according to all these words in David's name. Then they waited. 10. But Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David, and who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants today who are each breaking away from his master. 11. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my meat that I have slaughtered for my shearers and give it to the men whose origin I don't know? 12. So David's young men retraced their way and went back, and they came and told him according to all these words. 13. David said to his men, each of you guard on his sword. For each man guarded on his sword, and David also guarded on his sword. And about 400 men went up behind David, while 200 stayed with the baggage. 14. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, and he scorned them. 15. Yet the men were very good to us, and we were not insulted, nor did we miss anything as long as we went about with them while we were in the fields. 16. They were a wall to us both by night and by day, all the time we were with them, tending the sheep. 17. Now therefore, know and consider what you should do, for evil is plotted against our master and against all his household, and he is such a worthless man that no one can speak to him. 18. Then Abigail hurried and took 200 loaves of bread and 2 jugs of wine and 5 sheep already prepared, and 5 measures of roasted grain, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and loaded them on donkeys. 19. She said to her young men, go on before me, behold, I'm coming after you. But she did not tell her husband Nabal. 20. It came about as she was riding on her donkey and coming down by the hidden part of the mountain, that behold, David and his men were coming down toward her. So she met them. 21. Now David had said, surely in vain I have guarded all that this man has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that belonged to him, and he has returned me evil for good. 22. May God do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if by morning I leave as much as one male of any who belong to him. 23. When Abigail saw David, she hurried and dismounted from her donkey and fell on her face before David and bowed herself to the ground. 1 Samuel 25, New American Standard Bible 24. She fell at his feet and said, "On me alone, my Lord, be the blame, and please let your maidservant speak to you, and listen to the words of your maidservant." Then 5. Please do not let my Lord pay attention to this worthless man, Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, your maidservant, did not see the young men of my Lord whom you sent. 26. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord lives, and as your souls live, and as your soul lives, since the Lord has restrained you from shedding blood and from avenging yourself by your own blood, now then let your enemies and those who seek evil against my Lord be as Nabal. 27. Now let this gift which your maidservant has brought to my Lord be given to the young men who accompany my Lord. And 8. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house, because my Lord is fighting the battles of the Lord, and evil will not be found in you all your days. 25. Should anyone rise up to pursue you and to seek your life, then the life of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living with the Lord your God, but the lives of your enemies he will sling out as from the hollow of a sling. 30. And when the Lord does for my Lord according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you ruler over Israel. 31. This will not cause grief or a troubled heart to my Lord, both by having shed blood without cause, and by my Lord having avenged himself, wending a feast in his house like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunk. So she did not tell him anything at all until the morning light. 37. But in the morning, when the wine had gone out of Nabal, his wife told him these things, and his heart died within him, so that she became as a stone. 38. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. 39. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Blessed be the Lord, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and has kept back his servant from evil. The Lord has also returned the evil doing of Nabal on his own head." Then David sent a proposal to Abigail to take her as his wife. 40. When the servants of David came to Abigail at Carmel, they spoke to her, saying, "David has sent us to you to take you as his wife." 41. She arose and bowed with her face to the ground and said, "Behold, your maidservant is a maid to wash the feet of my Lord's servants." 42. Then Abigail quickly arose and rode on a donkey with her 5 maidens who attended her, and she followed the messengers of David and became his wife. 43. David had also taken Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they both became his wives. 44. Now Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Palti, the son of Laish, who was from Galim. 1 Samuel 26, New American Standard Bible. 1. Then the Ziphites came to Saul at Gibeah, saying, Is not David hiding on the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon? 2. So Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having with him 300 chosen men of Israel to search for David in the wilderness of Zippah. 3. Saul camped in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon, beside the road, and David was staying in the wilderness. When he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness, for David sent out spies, and he knew that Saul was definitely coming. 5. Then David arose and came to the place where Saul had camped, and David saw the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the commander of his army, and Saul was lying in the circle of the camp, and the people were camped around him. 6. Then David said to Abishai the son of Zuriah, Job's brother, saying, who will go down with me to Saul in the camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with you. 7. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping inside the circle of the camp with his spear stuck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the people were lying around him. 8. Then Abishai said to David, today God has delivered your enemy into your hand. Now therefore, please let me strike him with a spear to the ground with one stroke, and I will not strike him the second time. 9. But David said to Abishai, do not destroy him, for who can stretch out his hand against the Lord's anointed and be without guilt? 10. David also said, also the Lord lives, surely the Lord will strike him, or his day will come that he dies, or he will go down into battle and perish. 11. The Lord forbid that I should stretch out the Lord forbid that I should stretch out my hand against the Lord's anointed. But now please take the spear that is at his head and the jar of water and let us go. 12. So David took the spear and the jar of water from beside Saul's head, and they went away, but no one saw or knew it, nor did any awake, for they were all asleep, because a sound sleep from the Lord had fallen on them. 33. Then David crossed over to the other side and stood on top of the mountain at a distance with a large area between them. 14. David called to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, will you not answer, Abner? Then Abner replied, who are you who calls to the king? 15. So David said to Abner, are you not a man, and who is like you in Israel? Why then have you not guarded your lord the king? For one of the people came to destroy the king, your lord. 16. This thing that you have done is not good. As the Lord lives, all of you must surely die, because you did not guard your Lord, the Lord's anointed. And now see where the king's spear is, and the jar of water that was at his head. 17. Then Saul recognized David's voice and said, is this your